This tutorial looks at effective communication in online courses. Good communication skills are essential for online success. It might not be surprising, but the way students communicate in an online class is really different from the way they communicate in an on-campus class. Most of the communication in an online class will be through written communication, but it can also include video communication or voice communication. In this tutorial, we're going to look at three different concepts. The first is the different types of communication in online classes. Next, we'll look at common methods for online interaction, and we'll end with effective ways to interact in an online course. So first, let's focus on the types of communication in online classes. There are two common types of communication in online classes. The most common type of communication in online classes here at Honolulu Community College is asynchronous communication. This is when you, your classmates, and your instructor participate and communicate at different times. Think email, discussion forums, and blog posts. The second type of communication in online classes is synchronous communication. This is when you, your classmates, and instructor participate and communicate at the same time. Think online chat, video and voice systems, and web-based video conferencing systems. Now that we're familiar with the two types of communication in online classes, let's check out the different methods of online communication. One of the most popular features or methods in online courses are discussion boards. Instructors may provide a prompt or have students start their own topic to get the conversation started. Video conferencing is also a more commonly used or increasingly more commonly used feature in online courses. Video conferencing allows you to see and chat with your classmates and/or your instructor. You'll probably want headphones and a microphone so that you can hear your classmates and they can hear you. You're probably also going to need a webcam if you don't already have one. Some of the most commonly used video conferencing systems are Skype, Google Chat, and Zoom. And here's an example of what a video conferencing tool looks like. If you're familiar with FaceTime, it's quite similar to that. As an online student, there are correct ways to communicate online. All online students should practice netiquette. Netiquette means have respectful behavior at all time, use appropriate language. Swearing is not very professional, and you should always respect others' privacy. Now that we have some ideas of some common types of communication in online classes, let's move to effective ways to interact online. We're going to be looking at some common questions students have when considering communication and online learning. The answers to these questions can help students better understand what effective communication looks like in an online class. The first question is, will my online discussions be permanent? The answer is yes. When you communicate within online discussions, you create a permanent record of your words. All electronic communication will be dated, and because of this, it's easily organized, stored, and reviewed for grading purposes, usually at a later date. Because your words are permanent, it's a good idea to compose your written communications carefully before posting. Will my class have asynchronous or synchronous communication? That's a great question. Online class communication is usually asynchronous here at Honolulu Community College rather than synchronous or in real time. However, some instructors do ask students to meet synchronously. Discussions can often be much more lively in synchronous sessions because interaction is immediate, since everyone in a virtual room is present. You can interact and bond with your classmates and instructor much more easily through synchronous communication. Is it easier to communicate online or in an on-campus class? It can actually be a little bit easier for some students to communicate online. When you communicate through email, private messages, a discussion board, or a blog, you're kind of a little bit anonymous sometimes. Your instructor and classmates might not know your age, gender, race, ethnicity, or other physical characteristics. Some students find that this environment really gives them extra confidence, especially if they might normally be shy or perhaps tongue-tied in front of instructors or other students. Can I make friends in an online class? Absolutely. If you're normally reserved in front of other people, an online environment can make you feel like you can express your ideas more freely. Discussion boards and blogs often create a real sense of community as you respond to your instructor and other students' posts, and as those people respond to yours. In an online course, everyone has a chance and is actually expected to speak. Can you give me tips for communicating online? One of my biggest tips is this: if you can write well, you're already ahead of the game or have an advantage in an online course. Why? Because most of your communication in an online course will probably center around writing. So having effective writing skills is pretty essential. Here are some tips though. Always proofread your writing for spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors. There's tons of great applications that are free online, so if you don't have a good proofreading tool, go ahead and Google free proofreading tools, and that might be really helpful in assisting you with any spelling, grammar, or punctuation errors. When you're writing your posts, you should try to keep your posts as concise as possible. It might be a good idea to avoid offensive language, and you can also look for opportunities to collaborate with other students in the course. If you find something that you've written is negative, try reframing in a way that is maybe a little bit more conducive for creating positive discussion. If you don't agree with somebody, that's totally okay. But attacking a person because you don't agree with them is not okay. So be mindful of your classmates and treat everyone with respect. Speaking of respect, how do I be respectful online? First, make sure that you read your instructor's directions and follow them carefully. Second, take time to respond before maybe reacting in a negative way. All right, congratulations. You're now ready to take on online communication challenges that you might encounter in your courses. You should be more confident in your knowledge of the different types of online communication, common methods for interaction, and effective ways to interact in an online course.